monumental, blockbuster, stupendous, absolutely marvelous trade that we just experienced in the NFL. Russell Wilson, the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks, has been shipped to Mile High. The Denver Broncos go all in following the advice of an NFC West team, the Los Angeles Rams, and decide to trade for their future franchise quarterback. Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of Time2Football. My name is Hassan Khan, the host of this channel that we like to call Time2Football. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on this amazing Wednesday. Hey, for the past 4 weeks or so, we've been doing Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Just as like a, throughout the off season, let's just go once a week. We're going live once a week just to get you guys updated on all the stuff that's happening throughout the NFL news. I'm sorry if I was just screaming in the microphone while I was talking about Russell Wilson, because it is exciting news. How Russell Wilson is now the quarterback of the Denver Broncos, and we're going to be talking about them later on in the show. We're going to be talking about, are the Denver Broncos now contenders, not just for the playoffs, but maybe for the Super Bowl going into next season. We're also going to be previewing free agency 2022, as that does set to begin next week. I think Monday is the beginning of the legal tampering period where you can reach out, agree to terms with all of these impending free agents. So those teams are going to be reaching out to them and agreeing to some contracts. But we are very appreciative of you guys that are joining us on this live stream. We've got Melee joining us saying lots of news. Yes, sir, we do have lots of news in regards to the NFL, but we also have lots of news in regards to Time2Football. So if you guys have not picked up on this, I think last week is when we announced this. Let me go ahead and put this up. But we have a new landing spot for you guys that are interested in fantasy football. What we're going to be doing is introducing a new channel called T2F Fantasy Football. For you guys that are subscribed to this channel and just solely care about fantasy football, head on over to that channel. The link is in the description if you guys are watching this live on YouTube. Make sure you guys check us out. I think I'm going to put the link in the podcast description as well if you guys are listening to us on iTunes. And subscribe to us on there so you can listen to us and watch us on the go. Everything fantasy football related is going to be posted there. We've been talking about Fantasy Friday, where we release a video every single Friday throughout the offseason talking about fantasy football leading up to our 2022 draft ranking. So make sure you guys click that link, subscribe to us. I think I only posted one video, and we already got 43 subscribers. But, I mean, we've got tens and thousands of subscribers that are into fantasy football that subscribe to us. And I encourage all of you guys, if you watch this live stream, head on over T2F Fantasy Football. The reason I did this is because of the algorithm. Hey, YouTube, what you doing? Hey, YouTube, some of us are trying to make a living. Why do you got to be so complicated? Why can I just not post fantasy football and other stuff related to the NFL on one channel? I can't do that because fantasy football videos will get like 20,000 views, and then my live streams may only get like 12. And it's because of the algorithm. Hey, YouTube, get it together. Get it together. May have to separate and create new channels for everything, dude. Every single thing. Hey, today's a podcast talking about Russell Wilson being traded to the Denver Broncos. Should I start a new YouTube channel about that? Just cover Russell Wilson news. Just Russell Wilson. Hey, last week we talked about the NFL Combine. I should have created a new channel for that. Hey. No, I'm not going to. That's it. That's it for the channels that I'm creating. But anyways, T2F Fantasy Football. Go ahead and click on that link in the description so you guys can subscribe to us and stay tuned for all the content that we're going to be coming out with this offseason leading into 2022. I encourage you guys as well, throughout the duration of the show, you can go ahead and click that link in the description. Head on over to our Discord server where you can have the opportunity to call us live on air and talk about anything that you want to talk about. You want to talk about the trades that have been going on. You want to talk about the other news amongst the NFL that's been going on, which we're going to recap here in just a bit. Whatever you want to talk about, go on over to our Discord. Join that waiting room channel under voice channels. Hang out tight over there, and then I'm going to bring you on live on air. for an opportunity for you to speak about whatever you want, ask any questions, etc., etc. Now let's transition over to NFL news and notes that's going around the league. Oh my goodness, here we go. Oh, did you hear that? Oh, that's satisfying, isn't it? My hot brunette wife gets on to me for how many knuckles I can crack. Hey, listen to my wrist. Oh, I can't crack my wrist right now. This is probably the weirdest one. Oh, there it goes. That was it. Yep. I got to go to the hospital. NFL news and notes that's going around the league as of right now, March 9th, 2022. March 9th, right? Whatever it is. All right, so we talked about Russell Wilson being traded to the Denver Broncos. We're going to get into the details of all the trades, like acquisitions that each team has gotten later on in the show when we have a segment dedicated to Russell Wilson. But Wilson traded to the Broncos. Calvin Ridley, the Falcons wide receiver, has been suspended for a full year. This is bad news for the Atlanta Falcons, who were banking on Calvin Ridley being their number one target alongside Kyle Pitts in their passing attack for 2021. Ridley takes a leave of absence. Falcons support him. Then this news comes out that he was gambling. I know it's only $1,500. I know that it's dumb. I know. You could say it's hypocritical. Why do you have so many sponsorships? It is what it is. It is what it is. And it sucks. Coming from a Falcons fan, it sucks. But Calvin Ridley has been suspended for a whole season in the NFL. So, not good news for Calvin Ridley. Prior to that, the Patriots and the Browns have expressed interest in trading for Calvin Ridley. Now his market, no more. Some players have been franchise tagged, so they look like they're going to be heading to free agency. And then the teams were like, nah, we'll just pay you a lot of money, so you play for us for one more year. And the players that have been franchise tagged, probably the best free agent out there, Devontae Adams, has been tagged. You're it. You are staying with the Green Bay Packers. Cam Robinson, offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars, he's been tagged. Chris Godwin, very talented wide receiver for the Bucs, he's been tagged. Mike Gesicki has been tagged as well, staying with the Dolphins. Dalton Schultz, another tight end, staying with the Cowboys. Jesse Bates, the 25-year-old veteran for the Cincinnati Bengals, has been tagged. Orlando Brown has been tagged by the Kansas City Chiefs. And then the Cleveland Browns spend their franchise tag on David Njoku. Hey, what's going on with that? The Cleveland Browns have tagged David Njoku to stay in Cleveland, meaning that he gets paid top-tier tight end money, a player that's underutilized by the Cleveland Browns. The Browns really wanted to tag him because they wanted to extend the period of the contract negotiations. They really don't want him to leave. They're like, we'll just wait another year instead of him signing with another team. Maybe they could work out a deal. They're optimistic. But David Njoku, someone that has not been utilized that much, has signed or has been tagged and is making the same amount of money as Mike Gesicki and Dalton Schultz. Put that in perspective. Njoku is getting paid the same amount as Schultz and Gesicki. The only thing dumber than that is the Carolina Panthers signing Ian Thomas to a 3-year, $16 million deal. What was up with that? Why? Whatever. It is what it is. It is what it is. I got all my cracks out. Oh, there's a couple. All right, so some players that have been extended and have actually agreed to a contract extension will not be hitting the free agent market, will not be traded. Aaron Rodgers, biggest name, 4-year, $200 million deal, signs with the Green Bay Packers. He's going to be staying. Before that, he was debating between the Packers, the Broncos, the Titans, and then there was another team. I think the Steelers were on the market as well for Aaron Rodgers. He eventually agreed, you know what, I'll just stay in Green Bay. So the Packers got the job done. Aaron Rodgers staying in Green Bay. Harold Landry, very talented outside linebacker, has signed a 5-year, $87.5 million contract extension. People were like, oh, it was a scare for a few hours. People were like, man, he didn't get franchise tagged, meaning that he is going to hit the free agent market. And then out of nowhere, boom, Harold Landry, contract extension. The Titans sign him later that day. Actually, last night is when they extended him. Mike Williams signed a 3-year, $60 million contract extension to stay as the wide receiver 2 in LA. He was going to have a big free agent market out there. Big market. There's teams out there like the Texans, the Browns, the Lions, like the Falcons even, that could have paid top-tier dollar for Mike Williams. But for Williams to stay in LA, I think that was a wise choice. Number one, you get a high-powered offense. Number two, you're like almost there and making the playoffs. So like, why would you want to give that up? And number three, $20 million a year is much better than anything else that any other team would have offered in free agency. More than likely. So Mike Williams made a very smart deal and staying with the LA Chargers. And finally, Josh Reynolds signs a 2-year, $12 million deal to stay as a Detroit Lions wide receiver. He looked good when he was picked up off the waivers by the Lions when he was released by the Rams. And this kind of confirms that Jared Goff is going to be the starting quarterback of the Detroit Lions moving forward in 2022 because they brought in Reynolds because of the connection that he had with Jared Goff. Looked great in Detroit for the last half of the season or so. And now that they want to bring him back, that kind of confirms, like, okay, you got your top target now, Josh Reynolds, outside of Amon-Ra St. Brown and T.J. Hockenson, of course. So that's going to build that chemistry and keep on extending that chemistry for years to come. And that is the players that have been extended in the free agent market prior to free agency, I should say. All right, you guys like some rumors? You like the tea? How about some trade rumors out there? Christian McCaffrey is on the trade. He's not on the trade block. But teams are inquiring about Christian McCaffrey being traded. The Carolina Panthers have come out and said it's going to take a first rounder and more to get rid of Christian McCaffrey. Makes sense. Understandable. And now a lot of people are saying, why would you want to trade a first round and more for Christian McCaffrey when he's so injury prone? Guys, let me go ahead and take this graphic down. Let me explain to you guys for a second. Christian McCaffrey is not injury prone. I don't think we fully understand the definition of injury prone. Maybe we have a different definition of injury prone, but my definition of injury prone is you constantly hurt the same body part every single time on a regular basis. A player that's injury prone, Will Fuller, tore the same ACL 2 or 3 times. That's injury prone. Christian McCaffrey has had 4 different injuries. One in his shoulder, one in his ankle, I think a couple in his ankle. But he injured multiple body parts different times. It's not the same body part that he keeps on re-aggravating, re-injuring over and over again. This past season, I think he re-aggravated an injury, but that was because they brought him back a little bit too soon. He didn't fully recover. That's why. But for someone that's fully recovered and injured the same body part again, a player like Will Fuller, torn ACL. So the fact that someone is saying, I don't want Christian McCaffrey because of the injuries, I get what you're saying, but I also don't get what you're saying because injuries are just so unpredictable and you're just living off of recency bias and you have a negative mindset as far as injuries go that, oh, this guy's injured. He's injured all the time. I don't want him. Hey, if they said that about, can you imagine if the Rams said that about like Matthew Stafford? Matthew Stafford was injured very early on in his career. And people were saying, this guy's injury prone. He's injury prone. Then he went on a string of like 5-6 years where he started every single game. Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is another example. Injury prone his first season. Then he goes on to be very good in the NFL. Starts like 5-6 years playing every single game. So injury prone, I don't understand the whole concept of like people's definition on it. I don't think Christian McCaffrey is injury prone. I just think he's had bad luck. He just takes hits over and over and over again, and that's because he's probably getting the largest workload out of any running back in the NFL. So you're going to get injuries. You're going to get hit. Increases your chances. I'd take Christian McCaffrey big time. That's my thoughts on it. Tyler Lockett also is being in discussion of being traded to an NFL team. He's 29 years old, and now Russell Wilson's gone. They got DK Metcalf. They got Tyler Lockett. They're thinking about getting rid of Tyler Lockett. They're doing a whole rebuild here? Or they're doing a whole rebuild? The Seahawks, I don't think, are a bad team. They're 7-10 last year. And you missed Russell Wilson for, what, 3 games, was it? You could have easily made the playoffs if Russell Wilson played. Maybe. What's going on here? Seattle, what we're doing? What are we doing? But those are some trade rumors right now. Some players that have been released. Kyle Van Noy, the New England Patriots, has been released. That saves $5 million for the Patriots. And their cap space, A.J. Klein, has been released as well. It was also a cap casualty, the reason why he was released by the Bills. And then Bobby Wagner, a long time Seattle Seahawk. One of the best, if not the best linebacker this past decade. What are we doing here, Seattle? What are we doing? I have no idea what's going on with the Seattle Seahawks right now. I don't know what their plan is. I don't know what John Schneider is doing. But I've also come on the show and said multiple times, hey, the best general managers in the NFL, I would say, in my opinion, you've got John Schneider up there. He's up there, in my opinion, as one of the best in the NFL. Chris Ballard of the Indianapolis Colts, I'd say he's up there as well. So there's a lot of good general managers up there, and I trust Schneider, whatever he's deciding to do. But whatever. Like, that's we'll see what happens with the Seattle Seahawks. Jack Doyle announces his retirement from the NFL. That's our last little bit of NFL news and notes. Congratulations on a wonderful career, Mr. Doyle, the tight end of the Indianapolis Colts. And that is your NFL news and notes for today. You guys are tuning in on the live chat right now. We got Sean Landry saying, hey, man, good afternoon. Great to see you back on the air. I am excited for free agency next week. What are your thoughts on Calvin Ridley betting this season away for $1,500? Yeah, it sucks, man. It sucks. I don't know if you tuned in when I was just kind of venting about it earlier. It sucks, but I don't think it should have. I mean, the rules are rules, right? I don't think it should have been a full year, but it's the rules, and they're trying to make an example. It's like, oh, a moral. This is morally wrong. Hey, you know what he is? He's an older person on Facebook in the comment section saying, this generation nowadays, huh? Yeah, this generation nowadays, no respect. No respect. Huh? That's exactly what the NFL did to Calvin Ridley. This generation, no respect. You cannot be betting in these games. Cannot. I'm going to make an example out of you. Huh? Yeah, you get 1 full year. 1 full year. But Ray Rice, punching his girl, 2 games. Oh, got it. Gotcha. Whatever. Hey, if we're talking about betting, an app that Calvin Ridley used, there's a lot of betting apps out there. Why don't you join Prize Picks, who's our sponsor this past season? Also, Prediction Strike, the stock market of the NFL. Sign up for them. Great people. I traded Kamara and Tony Jones for CMC and Chuba and Watson in a San Francisco league, SF league, standard league. I don't know. And at the time, it was risky. Now I'm liking my trade. PPR also. Yeah. Is this dynasty? Like, you get to keep people? Big Jim Gene? I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, I like CMC. I really do. For the people that are like, if you want to talk about fantasy football, Superflex Dynasty, you just commented down below. Okay, yeah. Dude, oh yeah. And then Alvin Kamara, his, like, you know, he could be suspended, and Chris McCaffrey is like, oh, he's too hurt, he's injured, he's only going to play 3 games a year. No, he's not. And everybody that says that, it's not true. They know it's not true. He's got to play a majority of the season next year. The odds of him getting injured again for a 3rd straight year, like for a long period of time. If he misses a game or 2, that's one thing. But for him to miss like 8+ games, hey, not going to happen. Not going to happen. I like your odds, man. You did good. And then Deshaun Watson, we're going to be talking about him in just a bit. I'm going to get back to the live chat here in just a bit. But first, we want to go ahead and preview uh, free agency and see what's going on with all the rumors and which teams are interested in these top players. So what we did is we compiled a list of maybe 9 players and which teams are in the market to sign these players, not just because of like, well, I think this is going to happen, but these are actually reports from like insiders out there from what they're hearing from sources saying these teams are interested in signing these free agents. So I just wanted to create a video where we just compile all of them together and just give you updates on what's going on prior to free agency starting next week by the time we film this video. So first, let's start with Mitchell Trubisky, who's going to have a big market out there. Some people are saying that close to $10 million a year is what Mitchell Trubisky could be earning as a starting quarterback in the NFL. These are the 4 teams that are interested in Mitch Trubisky currently. You've got the New York Giants. Surprisingly, we're going to talk about that in just a bit. Let me just go ahead and read off these teams. The New Orleans Saints, the Washington Commanders, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay, going back to the Giants. Why is Mitch Trubisky being talked about amongst the New York Giants? Why are the Giants interested? Well, the Giants head coach, Brian Daboll, used to be the offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills. He likes Mitch Trubisky, and people love Mitch Trubisky right now because of the season that he had under Josh Allen, backing him up, getting a change of environment from Chicago, and really developing and helping his game, what some people are saying, supposedly. And I think Brian Daboll, being the head coach of the New York Giants, sees that firsthand. Like, listen, I've seen it happen firsthand. This is a guy that could be signing with the New York Giants eventually and could be competing with Daniel Jones for the starting job. So Brian Daboll is in the conversation and signing Trubisky for the New York Giants. The Saints, we know about the quarterback situation. They need people. Jameis Winston is also an option if they wanted to re-sign him. But Trubisky is being talked about, and the Saints are interested in him. The Washington Commanders, you're going to see the Washington Commanders a lot on this list because they have been being talked about amongst almost everyone. Like, they reached out to every NFL team, if I'm not mistaken. According to a report, I don't know how true it is, that they are inquiring about their quarterbacks. So free agent quarterbacks out there like Mitch Trubisky, I think the Commanders are in the running for them. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have been reported to love Trubisky as well and inquiring about him. But that is the market for Mitch Trubisky and the teams that are interested as of this video being released. Deshaun Watson. Now, I know he's not an impending free agent, but I want to talk about a couple quarterbacks. Since we're talking about quarterbacks, let's talk about Deshaun Watson first, who's on the trade market and these quarterback-needy teams. Which teams are actually in the running right now in signing or pursuing, I should say, Deshaun Watson? Well, let's go ahead and show you the list right here. The teams that are interested in Deshaun Watson, the Carolina Panthers, they've been interested for a while. I'll get back to them in a sec. The Seattle Seahawks and the Washington Commanders. Okay, so first starting off with the Carolina Panthers, the reason behind the Panthers' interest in Deshaun Watson and trading for him stems back to last year. They were inquiring about him with the Houston Texans. They said, hey, we like what it does for the market. David Tepper, the owner of the Carolina Panthers, loves the idea that Deshaun Watson played at Clemson and could be playing for the Carolina Panthers. Think of that. Think of that for a second. Bring in the fans of Clemson, 2 games. People travel, like it's in the Carolinas. So he likes the idea of Deshaun Watson, who needs a quarterback in Carolina. The Seattle Seahawks, this just emerged as of this morning. The Seahawks are still trying to pursue another quarterback, even though they have the almighty savior in Drew Lock. They are still trying to pursue a quarterback in Deshaun Watson, and they're going to inquire about him and see what happens with as far as his market goes. And then the Washington Commanders, again, they have reached out to like almost every team out there, all 32 teams, 31 teams, I should say, asking about their quarterbacks. So that's the market on Deshaun. Now, the last quarterback we want to talk about as far as the trade market goes, Jimmy Garoppolo has some interest out there, and here are the teams that are interested as well. Okay, it's no surprise that the Commanders are again on this list. They are infatuated with Jimmy Garoppolo. The Pittsburgh Steelers are even more infatuated with Jimmy Garoppolo, and then the New Orleans Saints as well have been linked to Jimmy Garoppolo. Again, this isn't just me giving my opinion. This is all speculation and sources from what we're hearing out there from NFL insiders. These 3 teams are now in the market to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. Again, Steelers in love with Jimmy Garoppolo. they could be making a move on him. They're on the Saints as well. And then the Commanders. I think that Jimmy Garoppolo had shoulder surgery, and he's going to be out for about 16 weeks, which will, hit and bite into his OTAs preparation. But I think teams are still interested despite that. Now let's get into the big name free agents that are out there that did not get tagged and are set to hit the free agent market. And that includes J.C. Jackson. Listen, the Patriots didn't even reach out to J.C. Jackson as far as a contract extension. Supposedly, according to what Jackson is saying. So these are the teams right now that are interested in Jackson and could be making a push in him, according to sources. This is according to Jordan Schultz, who's an NFL insider out there. He says that the Bengals, the Chargers, and the Dolphins and the 49ers could be making a strong push for the interception leader of 2021, who could help almost any secondary out there. So J.C. Jackson is on the market for those teams. Now, moving on to Amari Cooper. Now, he could be traded prior to the March 20th, I want to say, because I think if the Cowboys keep Amari Cooper on the roster past March 20th, they owe him $20 million. So reports have come out from the Combine saying that Amari Cooper is either going to get traded or released. Now, there are some teams inquiring about Amari Cooper as far as being traded, but these are the teams that could sign him even if he were to get released. You've got the Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots, two AFC East teams, two teams with Alabama quarterbacks could be signing the former Alabama wide receiver. Again, keep that deadline intact, March 20th. Like, if they don't make a move on Amari Cooper prior to then, they have to keep him on the roster. So if teams want to go ahead and just wait it out, the Cowboys have to get rid of him before March 20th. Could be traded, could be released. That's the market for Amari Cooper. The next market we want to talk about is DJ Chark. So Chark was injured for the majority of 2021. Nobody really talked about it. But then in 2019, 2020, you may not have remembered, but he actually was a pretty decent receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And he's actually getting a very interesting market push out there by these teams. These are the teams that are interested in DJ Chark. The New England Patriots, the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Cleveland Browns are the three teams that are inquiring about DJ Chark and have expressed their interest in Chark. So we could be talking about Mike Williams off the table, Chris Godwin off the table, Devontae Adams off the table. Well, I mean, you got DJ Chark now. Once Amari Cooper gets his contract signed, who's not to say that maybe DJ Chark isn't the best free agent wide receiver to hit the market if Amari Cooper were to get traded and not get released to free agency. You've also got Michael Gallup there, but I think the Cowboys are going to re-sign Michael Gallup and keep him as their number two. But that's a market on DJ Chark. Rob Gronkowski still not out of it. Still hasn't announced that he's going to be retiring. We assume that he's going to be retiring, but depending on what team signs him, he could be coming back and winning a Super Bowl. So I know that Rob Gronkowski has come out and said, like, oh, it'd be cool to play with Joe Burrow. But there's been no reports out there saying that the Bengals are interested in Rob Gronkowski. There's only one team that has come out and said, according to sources, that is interested in Rob Gronkowski, and that is the Buffalo Bills. From Buffalo, that's his hometown. They have Josh Allen, dynamic. Can you imagine Rob Gronkowski, Dawson Knox, Stephon Diggs, great offense. Josh Allen throwing it in the air to Gronk. He'd be home. Gronk is in the market right now, and the Bills are the number one team that is expressing the most amount of interest for Rob Gronkowski. The next player, we've got a couple more that we want to talk about. Let's go over to the defensive side of the football. Let's talk about Von Miller, who's going to be one of the better defensive players that's going to be pursued in free agency. These are the teams that are on the market for signing Miller. So he's not out of the question of re-signing with the LA Rams. I think he's expressed interest that he wanted to do that. But the Rams, again, their cap space is just, it's not the best. I'll just say that. The Chargers, the other LA team, is also in the market to sign Von Miller. The Green Bay Packers have expressed their interest as well. And then a reunion with the Denver Broncos could be happening. So now Von Miller has a lot of pull to where all these teams are expressing interest in signing Von Miller. It's up to him. He makes the ultimate decision at the end of the day. He could be like, I think the Rams are going to repeat, but if he's like, nah, I don't know if they're going to re-sign Odell Beckham. I don't know if they're going to figure out all these cap space questions. I don't know. I'm going to go with another team. Well, then you got the up-and-coming LA Chargers with a young quarterback, high-powered offense. Could be an option. Doesn't have to leave LA. The Green Bay Packers, we know how close they are to making the Super Bowl year after year after year. They could be a topic of discussion, signing with Aaron Rodgers, who has signed that $2 million extension. And then Denver Broncos with Russell Wilson coming back, and they are just going all in, LA Rams style, trying to win a Super Bowl. Von Miller could be coming back to the Denver Broncos as well. But that is the market. Those are the teams that are interested in re-signing Von Miller. And now the last player that we want to talk about, one of the better offensive linemen out there in the free agent market, I would say Teron Armstead of the New Orleans Saints probably tops the list. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't list him in this video. I think the Jets are interested in Armstead. But there are 4 teams interested in another offensive lineman, and that is Ryan Jensen, coming from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's go ahead and read off his markets. So the teams that are interested in him, the Cincinnati Bengals, the New York Jets, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Jacksonville Jaguars are the 4 teams interested. The Bengals, offensive line issues, got torn up by Aaron Donald and company. They need an offensive lineman, Ryan Jensen, on the radar. The Jets, as well, offensive line help. They get Mekhi Becton back. They get Ryan Jensen, solidify that offensive line. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, of course, they show interest. They want to get a deal done, but he might be asking for a lot of money, so that's where the disconnect might be for Ryan Jensen and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then the Jaguars, protect your franchise quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. Those are the 4 teams interested in Ryan Jensen. But those are just some players, 9 players that we wanted to mention that we've heard, that we can confirm at the time of this video being filmed, that are interested in these impending free agents or players that could be traded. Leave your comments down below if there are other players out there, whether it be these players or other players that you think would be a good fit for another free agency team. Leave your comments and your thoughts down below, and love to interact with you guys. All right. Now we got Russell Wilson to talk about here in just a bit. Actually, my phone has been blowing up, and let me see if it's not NFL news and notes. Okay, it's not. It is from it's a Snapchat. It's a Snapchat. False alarm. Let's talk about Russell Wilson here for a bit. The breaking news is that Russell Wilson has been traded to the Denver Broncos in exchange for a plethora of picks and 3 different NFL players. Let's first show you what the ransom was for the Denver Broncos to acquire Russell Wilson. So this is what it officially is. The Denver Broncos, they received Russell Wilson and a 4th-round pick in exchange for Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a 5th-round pick. Actually, as a matter of fact, as I'm reading this, leave your comments down below and let me know your thoughts. Who won this trade? Who won this trade? Because it's interesting to note that, back in the day last year when Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff and that whole trade happened, it was Jared Goff plus a plethora of picks for Matthew Stafford. A lot of people were saying, oh, well, maybe it's the Detroit Lions that won that trade. But by the way it panned out, it was actually the LA Rams that ended up winning, and they ended up winning a Super Bowl. So this could be very reminiscent of that. Leave your comments and your thoughts down below. Who won that trade? I'll give you my opinion right now. And the topic of the day that we wanted to talk about is, are the Denver Broncos contenders? Now, that could be a wide range. Is that playoff contenders? Is that Super Bowl contenders? We'll break that down here in just a bit. But they acquired Russell Wilson for draft picks and 3 different players. Let's first start off with what Russell Wilson can do for the Denver Broncos. John Elway loves his veteran quarterbacks. Loves. Okay, ever since Peyton Manning. Saw that Peyton Manning was out there. Hey, I want him. One of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. I want him. Ended up being a success. But since then, he's been trading and trying to acquire other quarterbacks, veteran quarterbacks. Joe Flacco didn't pan out. Case Keenum didn't pan out. Teddy Bridgewater didn't pan out. He loves his veteran quarterbacks. He's going to trade for whoever he needs to trade for to try to win. And now I think John Elway, after that span of like Keenum, Flacco, Bridgewater, realizing, listen, I traded for these quarterbacks and it didn't work out. I think he's finally come to the realization, why am I just settling for average, for mediocre at quarterback? Why? Why do I need to do that? When I can get one of the better quarterbacks out there in the NFL, when I just saw the LA Rams win a Super Bowl by going all in, trading a lot of the draft picks for a franchise quarterback. That's exactly what John Elway, George Paton, and all the rest of the Denver Broncos front office staff was thinking when they acquired Russell Wilson. This team, very close to being a 500 team from last season. They're close. They've got all the right pieces there. And the trade rumors were out there that maybe Aaron Rodgers could be a Denver Bronco in the future. But if we want to talk about that for just a second, Aaron Rodgers going to the Denver Broncos, I think a lot of people were saying if Rodgers goes to the Broncos, that's it. The Broncos are winning a Super Bowl. They've got the defense. They've got the offensive line. They've got two good running backs if Melvin Gordon were to resign. They've got a good secondary piece in Patrick Surtain. They're going to be making the Super Bowl. But now that it's Russell Wilson, are they going to be making the Super Bowl? My opinion, I think they're going to be competing for one. I really do. I think Russell Wilson is such a big game changer in the NFL. People don't realize this. Jerry Jeudy had the worst season of his career last year. Now, he's only been playing for 2 years, but 0 touchdowns. 0 touchdowns. Jerry Jeudy couldn't get it done, and it's because of poor quarterback play. Russell Wilson comes in there, without a doubt, Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy, or maybe even both, are going to become 1,000-yard receivers next season. Oh, you give up Noah Fant. Let's talk about that for a second. Well, let me slow it down here. The Broncos acquired Russell Wilson. They improved. And what did they give up? Not much. Quarterback for quarterback? Okay, well, you got a better quarterback out of it. Draft picks? Well, we're just talking about 2022. Just for 2022, they improved. They gave up Noah Fant, promising tight end, first rounder a couple years ago. Oh, that's okay. They got Albert Okwuegbunam. Albert Okwuegbunam. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. A lot of people like to call him Albert O. He's going to be their starting tight end. And he's capable of being a starting tight end. He's very good. They didn't give up much. They didn't give up that much, and now they're in position to be a Super Bowl contender. They improved. They got better. In the future, forget about that. Screw that. Less need. F those picks. F them picks. Doesn't matter. For the future right now in 2022, they are capable of winning in the NFL. For the Seahawks, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. Drew Lock is your franchise quarterback right now. No offense. Release Bobby Wagner. You get a plethora of draft picks. Cool. What you going to spend it on? Yet to find out. We'll have to see. Just my thoughts. The Denver Broncos are now in position and making a deep run. Leave your thoughts, your comments down below. What do you think about the Denver Broncos? Are they in a good spot with Russell Wilson as their quarterback? All right. Now we've got live chats. Again, if you guys have not had the opportunity to join in on the Discord, click that link in the description and join our Discord server, and you can chat with us live as we are streaming this. But we're about to wrap up right here, but we're going to go ahead and tune in with you guys on the live chat here in just a bit. Melee asking, how old is Mitchell Trubisky? I think he's 27. If I'm not mistaken. What are your thoughts on AFC West quarterbacks now? Herbert, Mahomes, Carr, and now Wilson. Yeah, it's probably, from the NFC South a few years ago, we talked about how Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, Teddy Bridgewater. I'd say it's better than that, maybe. Because you've got 4 startable quarterbacks that, there's no question that they could win you NFL games. I know people are like, oh, Derek Carr, he's Derek Carr's good. Derek Carr's good. People are just so obsessed with if a team is mediocre. I don't know what it is. If a team is mediocre, they blame everything on the quarterback, and they say that quarterback is not good. Happens all the time. Happens with the Falcons and Matt Ryan. Happens with Derek Carr and the Raiders. Happens with Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. All the time. But you have to realize that's the best that they're going to get. Like, it's so hard. It's so hard to have an above-average quarterback in the NFL. And I'd say all three of those guys are above average. Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr. I don't know what it is. NFL community just likes to be negative. All right. Sean Landry joining in. I think the quarterbacks in the AFC West are probably the most intriguing. I think Teron Armstead to Cincy and Jacksonville would be two great spots. Both have young quarterbacks when healthy, and one is one of the best offensive linemen in the game. Yes, sir, I agree. Teron Armstead. His market's going to be pretty hot. Denver definitely won that trade. It was a quarterback away from being a contender again. Yes, they've been quarterback away for a couple years now, and they finally got their guy for probably the next 5 years or so, I would say. Wilson can win some Super Bowls for them. But that's it for the live chat. I mean, you guys can go ahead and continue to comment in. Again, if you guys have not picked up on this, did not join us in the beginning of the show, for you guys that are into fantasy football, this channel, we are done. We are done with fantasy football. It's because of the YouTube algorithm. It sucks. So we were forced to start a new fantasy football channel, T2F Fantasy Football. Click that link in the description. Subscribe to us so that you can stay up to date with all the fantasy football videos that we're going to be coming out with. I think every Friday is our schedule right now throughout the offseason. We're going to be coming out with videos. Make sure you guys subscribe to that. And then I'll be coming out with fantasy football stuff out there. Let me go ahead and hang tight here for a bit until, we may get more comments coming in. We're chatting with the live chat right now. So if you want to go ahead and call in as well, you can go ahead and call in. But let me go ahead and just hang out here for just a bit. Yeah, man, the YouTube algorithm. Algorithm, I don't know how you pronounce it. It was bad, man. It was bad. It got to the point where we were getting subscribers to join us, and we were growing, but people just, if you post a video, if people subscribe to you for one thing and then they see that you're not posting that one thing, they'll become disinterested. They see that you post and they're like, oh, I'm not interested in that, and they just keep scrolling past, which is okay. Like, that's okay. I'm okay with that. Nothing wrong with that. It's just YouTube thinks like, okay, since your subscribers aren't interested in the content that you're coming out with, we're going to go ahead and push your content lower and lower in the feed. Not everyone's going to see it. And I'm like, gosh dang it, man. Freaking hate how that happens. So again, we're going to be creating channels for everything. Every single thing, we're going to be creating a channel. Fantasy football, channel, made. Today we're talking about Russell Wilson, channel for Russell Wilson, made. That algorithm, that's what it wants. NFL, college football. No, I'm just kidding. I don't do college football. Hey, man, I've talked about it on the show before, and I'm sorry if you guys are like bigger college football fans than NFL fans. I like college football, by the way. I'm not saying that college football is stupid, but for people to say that college football is better than the NFL makes no sense. Hey, guys, the NFL, it's just better. It's better football. Because the NFL has the best players from college football. Why would I want to watch semi-pro football when I can watch full-on pro football? Watch the best of the best. That's how it is. I could go on and on about college football, but I'm going to go ahead and stop right there. All right. Well, you guys aren't really chatting in right now, so let me go ahead and just sign off right here. We've been going on for quite a bit, so let me go ahead and end this episode of Time to Football. But I appreciate you guys joining us for this episode again. Wednesdays at 12 seems to be like the regular time. I might do a switcheroo. It might be somewhere between 10 to 12 next week. Because I'm still experimenting with times and what's best for people and the algorithm. Freaking algorithm, dude. Dude, it controls your life. sucks. Anyways, algorithm sucks.